Hello and welcome to another episode of the Now Showing podcast, where I give my quick reviews of things that are at the movies or will soon be at the movies. And today it is a future looking episode as I look at the movie Suncoast. Suncoast will actually begin streaming on a Friday. It's not easy to lose someone you love. Worse still is watching them fade away slowly, especially as you're trying to find your way in the world. For Doris, played by Nico Parker, that's her everyday life as she watches her brother Max fade away slowly from brain cancer. She's caught serving as a caretaker and holding vigil in her formative high school years while they're racing away. That's the premise for Suncoast, which debuted at the Sundance Film Festival and streams on Hulu Friday. We meet Doris and her family. We learn more about her grief and the loss that consumes her and her world, and her deep desire to just be a teenager. It's a raw and beautiful portrait of grief and loss interwoven with that kind of coming of age story. I want to touch on this briefly. The film is set in Florida in the early 2000s. Doris' brother is transferred to a care facility named Suncoast as his time is drawing to a close. It just so happens that's the same facility caring for Terry Schiavo. If that name sounds familiar, it's because her case made national news and drew national attention. uh, Doris and her mother, Christine, played by Laura Linney, don't often see eye to eye. Christine has been very focused on Max and his care at times. It almost seems to Doris like she has slipped through the cracks. She just wants to be a normal teen. And with her brother in a facility and her mother kind of holding vigil there at Suncoast, she uses the opportunity to connect with some girls her own age and to kind of move forward, even gets a little bit of a romantic relationship. When she's not making new friends at school, though, she's at Suncoast, and while there, she crosses paths with plenty of protesters who were there to uphold the sanctity of Shivo's life as her husband sought to compassionately end his wife's suffering. One of those protesters, Paul, played by Woody Harrelson, he connects with Doris. They swap stories of grief and kind of form this unique friendship that helps ease both of them who are going through this kind of tough time in their life. The film was written and directed by Laura Chin. It was based on her personal experiences, and I think that personal connection really comes through the film, which is at times very deeply emotional. It's also engaging and develops characters in a world that pull you in. It was buoyed by some great performances. I really loved Laura Linney and her arc. I appreciated the way that the film explores Christine's grief, but also the way that she's become so consumed with Max that she's almost forgotten Doris. She's challenged on that by a grief counselor at Suncoast, and it really pushes her into a new area and improves their kind of dynamic. I also really enjoyed Harrelson and his performance. His character and his story add a lot of emotional depth. His back and forth with Doris are often cathartic. Their final exchange near the end of the film was just beautiful. But this is really a great showcase for Parker. She's asked to carry a lot of the film and is able to convey a lot with her expressions and non-dialogue performance. The raw emotion, particularly in the third act, really hit home for me. It's a beautiful performance paired with a beautiful and emotionally resonant story. To this point, it's fair to say Suncoast is my favorite new film of the year. As I mentioned, it streams Friday on Hulu. I'm giving it 3.5 stars out of 5. I think you should make it a point to go and check out the film. I really enjoyed it. You can also follow me if you want to keep up with everything that I am watching and reviewing. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Nighthawk7734. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend. And be sure to check out Suncoast, which will be streaming on Hulu beginning Friday, February 9th.